Alright, Shalom, Shalom. It's Brother Tazdak, hero of Israel. I'd like to start off by giving honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone. Right, today we're going to go into Deuteronomy chapter 20, right? Going into the Hebrew. So Lord willing, you're edified, giving honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone, right? Let's get right into it. Deuteronomy 20:1 reads Kaya Tatazah La Malchama, right? Because you go out to battle, right? Because that word battle or war means it's a derivative of ma, meaning of. Lacham meaning to fight, right? Against your enemies, al ayabka, right? And you see horses and chariots, right? Of the people, many. Wara'ayat, Sawas, Warakab, Aim, Rab, Mamka, meaning more than thee, right? La'a, Tayara'a, Maham, you will not fear them, right? Or you will not fear of them, right? Kaya Yahweh Allahayaka, I am Ka, because the Lord your power, He is with thee, right? Ha Ma'alka, Ha meaning He, right? Ma'al means He ascended, He brought you up, as in ascending you up from the land of Egypt, right? Because He brought you up from the land of Egypt. Ma'aratazah Matazarium. Verse 2, Wahaya Ka Kwarab Kam Al Hamalchama, and it will come to pass because you are coming near to the battle, right? Wanagash Hakahan Wadabar Al Ha'aim, and will come near the priest and speak to the people, right? Wa Amar Alham Shema Yasha'ala Atham, and will say to them, Hear Israel, you are coming near this day to the battle, right, or approaching. Korabium Hayawam La Malchama, upon, against your enemies, right? Against or upon, right? Al Ayabiakum, right? Al Yarak, right? Lababkam, meaning do not soften your heart, right? Because that word Yarak means to soften, right? Al Tayara'awa, you will not fear them. Wa al ta chapazwa, right? Meaning you will not be startled of them, right? Because that word chapaz means to leap, right? But in a figurative sense, it's speaking about startledness, right? Because you see many chariots and horsemen, right? Wa'al ta iratazawa, right? And you will not dread of them before them, ma panayaham. Kaya Yahweh Allahayakam, ha halak, I'm come. Because the Lord your power, He walks with thee, or with you, right? Laha lakam, meaning to fight for you, with your enemy, right? I'm Yabyakam, right? To deliver you, right? La hawash shayai atham, right? Wadabarwa hashatarium alhaim la amar, and will speak the officers to the people to say, right? Maya ha'ayash ashar bana bayat chadash, who is the man which will build a house new, right? And has not dedicated to it, right? Wala'a chanakwa, right? Yalak meaning ya meaning he, laka meaning he will go, wayeshab, wa meaning and, ya meaning he, shab meaning to return, right? The root word is shawab, meaning to turn back to his house, la bayathwa, lest he die in battle, pan yamawath, bamalchama, and a man another dedicated, right? Wa ayash achar, right? Man another dedicate to it, right? Ya chanakwa, nawa, right? Ya meaning he, dedicate, chanak, nawa to it, right? So we're going to visit that word hanak, which means to dedicate, but it also has other meanings as well, right? Slovakia. Crap, I'm clicking on the wrong one. Hanak. To make narrow, to be narrow, let's see. The second definition says hak. Compared with the Arabic, says hanakai, right? Which means jaw, palat, right? So it just means to dedicate, right? But you can compare it with Strong's H2 614. Slovakia, that's not what I was looking for. But we'll click on that as well. Just let me get this first. Or Slovakia, yeah, we'll just do that. No, that's not it. Enoch, or let's just look up Palat. See if I can find it. Right, compare with Strong's H2441, hak, meaning the palat or the roof of the mouth. The palat with the corresponding lower part of the mouth. It's like it reads the internal part of the mouth, the jaws. Right, which is hak. Palat, roof of mouth, gums. And I believe that's in the book of Job. You got some precepts in Job, tell you. Right. So it's a figurative way of saying taste or palat, right, or discernment, right. Like it says in Job 12:11, does not the ear try words, and the mouth discerneth taste, right, or the mouth discerneth his meat, right. Because the actual word for taste is let me see, get that real quick. Tayim, right, to taste, perceive. That's the literal word for taste, right? It's not hak. that just means palat, or the roof of the mouth, figuratively for taste, right? Verse 6, Wamaya ha'ayash ashar natai karam, meaning, and who is the man which had planted a vineyard, wala'a halawa, right? Um, and had not harvested to it, right? So that word halal, it doesn't literally mean harvest, right? It just means to pierce, as in you plant a vineyard, right? And you eventually you cut, or you prune, and then you eventually cut into the vegetation itself when you go to cook it, right? So you're piercing it by cooking it, or dicing it up, right? So it's a figurative way to say to harvest, right? Because you got, right, let's get that. Harvest. Quatazayor, right? Which literally means to cut off, right? Harvest. Strong's H7114, Quatazar. To reap, right? Harvest. To be short. Let's see, Salakia. Reap, harvest. Let's see what we get. Right. To be shortened, cut off, right? See if we can get that cut. Let's see. From Quataza, right? Which means to cut off, to cut down, right? So it's a derivative of Quataza, meaning to cut off, right? The R at the end is the Ra means head, right? Ra'ash, right? So you're cutting off, right, the head of the plant, right? Hence you're harvesting it, right? Not to be confused with to prune, right? Because that word quataza is used also in the sense of right, to be cut off from sleep, meaning you're suddenly awoken, right? Not to be confused with iwar, meaning to awake. Just it's figuratively, right? Quataza, you could be cut off from sleeping. You could be cut off from um, doing something in particular, right? You have zamar, which is to prune, right? Which is in the law, Leviticus 25, right? 6 years, right? You will sow your field, and 6 years, you will prune your vineyard, right? And you will gather to your increase, right? Afterwards, right? This is the law concerning the Sabbath of rest, right? Reading Shashanayim, 6 years. Tazariah, you will sow your field. Shadaka, right? Washa Shanayim, Tazamar, in 6 years you will prune your vineyard, Karamka, Wa Asapath, or Slakia, Wa Asaptha, Atha, Tabawa Atha, right? You will gather to your increase, right? So let's get that word prune. For those that are not really sure what that means, prune. Salakia. Right, prune. You got the definition, which says to trim a tree or shrub or bush by cutting away dead, overgrown branches or stems, right? Which is what you do with a vineyard, right? To reduce the extent of something by removing superfluous or unwanted parts, to cut away branch or stem, right? So it reads wa la'a tahalalwa, right? You have not harvested to it, right? Ya laka, he will go, right? Wa yashab, and he will return to his house. La bayathwa, pan yamawath, lest he die in the battle. Ba malchama, wa ayash, achar yachalal nawa, and man another harvested, right? Wa maya ha'ayash ashar arash, and who is the man which will espouse a woman, right, or wife? It's interchangeable, right? Wa la'a, right? Ta laquacha, right? And he has not taken her, right? Because that word wala'a and not, laquach, to take, the ha is talking about the woman in question, right? Yalaka, he will go. Wayashab la bayathwa pan yamawath, and he will return to his house lest he die in the battle. Ba malchama, right? Wa ayash achar yakwachna, and the man another take her, right? And that word arash literally means bed spouse. Wayasapwa, verse 8. Wayasapwa hashatarium la dabar, right? And they will add unto them the officers to say to the people, Al Haim, Wa Amarwa, and will say to them, Maya Ha'ayash, Hayara'a, who is the man which he will fear, right? Which he fears. Ha meaning he, Yara'a means to fear, right? Waraka, Halabab, right? And is softened, soft in heart, right? Because that word Yarak means soft, but it's also Raka, right? Means the same thing, right? Let's get that actually. Deuteronomy 20 and 8. Let's get that. Slack here. right? Tender, weak, dull, as in soft, right? Which is rakak, right? Which it may sound like right, let's see, rakak. Right, so it says rakak, right? Which really it's just rakah, right? Because the second ka is not really right, necessary, because it's really some of these words are loan words, so called from the Aramaic, which they always have an a at the end, right? So it doesn't, that's supplemental, that second ka, right? It's really rakah, right? As you can see down here, rakah, right? Marakah, right? So it's soft and hard, ya lakah, he will go, wa yashab, la bayathwa, and he will return to his house, right? Wa la'a yamas, and he will not melt. That word mas is a derivative of, let's get that, 20 and 8. Masa, right? Because you pronounce the masa, right? Not masas, right? Which means to melt, to flow, to waste away. Really just means to melt. Which is where you get the word masaka from, which means a molten image, right? Masa means to melt. Saka is derived from nasak, meaning to pour out, right? As in a libation or in other uses, right? Wala'a yamas, right? And he will not melt to the heart of his brethren like his heart, right? Athalabab akyawa kalababwa. Verse 9. Wahaya kakalath hashatarium ladabar al ha'im. It will come to pass when they have completed the officers to speak to the people, because that word kalath means like, ka meaning like, kalath means complete, right? Which is the root word is kala, meaning complete, consume, right? But really it just means to complete, which is why the call means all, which is you're talking about a complete, all of something, a complete of something, right? So if you say, when you say, call Allah Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, you say that's really saying complete praise to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, right? So it reads Wa Pakwad Wa Shariah Tazabawath. And they will give charge the princes to the hosts, right? uh, upon the head of the people, Bara'ash Ha'aim, right? That word Pukwad means to visit, visitation, but it also means to give a certain charge, right? Let's get that. Deuteronomy 20 and 9. Um, let's get that real quick. Pukwad, right? Let's get that. Jacinius Hebrew Lexicon says to strike upon or against, right? To visit, right? To review. I'm just kind of reading what I see, what sticks out. To deposit, right? Really just means let's scroll up. To attend to visit, right? Attend as in given a charge, right? You have a charge, to so and so, right? To keep certain charges of the temple, right? And so on and so forth. It also means to visit, right? Because when you're given a charge, something to attend to, you visit it, make sure it's in its proper order, right? For example, you can get a precept. Genesis 21 and 1, and the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken, right? Genesis 39 and 4, and Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him, right, overseer over his house, and all that he had, he put in his hand, right? Which is really Joseph's master gave him charge over his house, right? Waya mataza'a yawasap han ba yanyawa, right? And he found Joseph favor in his eyes, right? Waya sharath, and he ministered to him, atawa. Waya pakwadawa, right? And he gave him charge upon his house, right? Al bayathwa wakal, and all that was to him, right? Right, or is to him, right? Yasha lawa, given in his hand, right? Nathan bayadwa, right? So it says verbatim, and it came to pass when they have finished the officers to speak to the people, and they will give charge to princes to the host upon the head of the people, right? Kaya Korab al Ayar Lahalaham Aliyah, right? Because you go near to the city, right, to fight upon it, right? Wa Korath Aliyah La Shalawam, right? And you will proclaim to it peace. Wahaya Aim Shalawam Ta'ain Ka, right? And it will come to pass, if peace they answer to thee, right? Wa Patacha Laka, and they open unto thee. Wahaya call Ha'aim, meaning and will come to pass all the people. Hana Tazama Baha, that are found upon it, right? Yahayewa, laka lamas, meaning will be unto thee, or Salakia, they will be unto thee, because the ya means they. Haya, meaning will be, right? To thee, laka, lamas, tributary, right? Wa abad ka, right? And will serve thee, right? Let's get that. Deuteronomy 20:11, right? So this is pretty simple, this chapter, right? It's not really anything super complicated to go into, right? So that word for tributary is mas. Tribute. It also means tax, right? And tributaries in the sense of forced labor, task workers, right? But it really means tribute, tax, right? That's all it really means. Properly causing a burden, a tax in the form of forced labor, a levy, right? Which leads us back to Masa, right? Which really doesn't really have any connection to it, right? Now it does have a connection to Masa, meaning to venture, right? For example, when you start a business, you're starting a venture, right? Which Masa also means trial, right? Or tempt, to tempt, right? But you can kind of match Masa, as in Masaha, to this word Masa, right? Which is really pronounce it the same way, right? Because it says, I believe that's Deuteronomy 28, right? The woman that was delicate will not venture to put the soles of her foot. That's that same word, Masa. When the Lord said, do not tempt the Lord, right? It's Masa, as in to venture or tempt, or to test, as in trial, right? So it reads, and it will come to pass, a peace they answer unto thee, right? And will open unto thee, meaning their gates. It will come to pass, all the people that are found in it, they will be unto thee tributary and will serve thee, right? Wa'im la'a dash shalayim I'm ka, right? Meaning, and if they do not that word shalayim is a derivative of shalawa, meaning prosper, which is where you get the word shalom from. It just means prosperity unto you, right? Shalawa, meaning prosperity. The is talking about, do you, right? Which, let's see if that pulls up right here. Which is why Shiloh was called Shiloh, right? Shalawa, Shalawaha, which just means prosperity, as in the gospel, the prophecies being forwarded when Yahushua comes on the scene, because that's one more step to the fulfillment of the things written and what the prophets seen of since the days of old. right? Which is happening now in the latter days, right? Um, no, that's not what I was looking for. Salakia. Prosper. Check this out. Shalawa. Prosperity. Right? Shalah. Right? The Syriac says man shalach, which is where you get the word tazalach, which means to prosper. Salakia. I don't know how to zoom out. Damn. Shalawa, tazalach, right? Um, Strong's H6473. Salakia, what was it? 86473. Tazalach, to rush, advance, right? So this is, right, to prosper in a way of advancement, right? The word shalawa is prosperity, as in, you know, to have something forwarded, right? Which is why Yahushua was called a Shiloh, right? Which is to forward the Lord's will, right? You can understand. Tazalach, to go well, prosper, succeed, right? Accomplish, right? See if we can get some precepts on that. Right, so for the most part, yeah, it does say it's just to prosper, right, or succeed, right? The closest would be to succeed, right? So wa'im, la'a, tashalyab, I'm ka, right? And if they will not be prosperous with thee, right? Or in this sense, you would say if they would not be profitable with thee, unto thee, right? Wa ashata, I'm ka, you will make with them, right? I meaning with, ka meaning um with you, right? Salakia, not with them. And you will make with you, right? Uh, battle, right? Malchama, Wa Tazarath, Alaya, right? Or Salakia, Alya, right? Meaning, and you will distress upon it, right? So verbatim it reads, right? And if they will not be prosperous with thee, right, you will make yourself, it's like you will make battle, right? And you will just you will you will you will just you will lay upon it this you will distress upon it, right? One but simplified, it just says, if they will not be prosperous unto thee, right, you will make battle upon them and besiege them, right? Wana Tana Yahweh Alahayaka Bayadka, right? And he will appoint Yahweh, your power, the Lord your power, in your hand, right? Or he will place them in your hand. Wahakayath Atha Kal Zakara, meaning you will smite to all the males. Lapaya Harab, with the mouth of the sword, right? Because that word Hakayath, Hak means to smite, right? The Tha means you will smite to them. Atha, or to all the inhabitants, or to all the males, Salakia. So it reads, right? And the Lord your power will place them in your hand. You will smite to all the males with the sword. Rakwa Hanashiam Wahatap, only the women and the infants, right? And the beasts. Waha Bahama Wakal Ashar Yahaya, and all which will be in the city. Ba'ayar, right? Call Shalah, or call Shalah, meaning all the prey, right? You will spoil. Tabaz will be a spoil unto thee. Tabaz laka wa akalath ata shalal, you will eat to the spoil, right? As in, you will take their spoil, right? You're not gonna eat, you know, literally the women and children, right? Ayabyaka Ashar Nathan Lahawa Alahayaka Laka, meaning your enemies, which have given the Lord your power unto thee, right? So it reads, only the women and the infants and the beast and all which will be in the city, all prey, you will be a spoil unto thee, right? And you will take to the prey of your enemies, which the Lord your power was given unto thee, right? Simple as that, right? Salakia. Kan ta Aisha lakal ha'aryim, right? So you will do to all the cities, right? Harakwa ha harach ha rachakwath, right? Meaning afar off, right? From the mamka, right? Ma'ad, right? So this is kind of tricky, right? Because this is one of the few instances where this actually doesn't mean exceedingly or diligent, right? It actually means in turn, right? Right? Because a wad, right, means a firebrand, but it also means, right, to the turnings, right? Because what you do with the firebrand, which is a metal pole that you use to turn fire and firewood, right? Um, you use that to right, to turn firewood, right? That's a firebrand. Them little picks, them picks that are made of metal, you know, you poke at the fireplace, right? Which is, we'll get that, Deuteronomy 20:15. Deuteronomy 20:15. Right, a wad, Strong's H 181. You know, you have a scripture that says, "Is Israel not a firebrand plucked up?" Right? That's a firebrand, right? A wad, a wooden poker, right? So called from the fire being stirred with, right? Brand, firebrand, right? Meaning to rake together, turning or gathering embers, right? Amos 4:11, I've overthrown some of you, as God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, and you were as a firebrand plucked out of the burning. Yet have you not returned unto me, saith the Lord, right? So in essence, right, um, the firebrand was used in a figurative sense. That word, that is, right, when someone turns back, right, from evil or good, right? But it also means, you know, when you're trying to distinguish one thing from another, right? You would say, right? Um, it's another word to, it's another way to say labad, meaning to be side, but it's more in a non-literal sense, right? Ma'ad meaning ma meaning of, ad is derivative of awad, right? Meaning ma meaning of, awad meaning turning or right. Um, so that means of a side, right? Or right, in turn, or of turning, right? Because the whole context is that Amos 4:11, you know, the Lord is calling Israel as a firebrand plucked out of the burning, just like Sodom and Gomorrah was burned, right? The Lord compared Israel to a firebrand that, you know, on accident got caught into the fire, right? And it was no good to turn the embers on a fireplace, because once that branch is consumed part, right, it's just shortened, right? As in Israel has come short of which the Lord commanded them to do, right? Zechariah 3:2. And the Lord said unto Satan, the Lord rebuke thee, O Satan, even the Lord that hath chosen Jerusalem rebuke thee. Is not this a brand plucked out of the fire, right? Same sense, right? Brand plucked out of the fire, right? No good, right? Because here, right, the Lord is talking about these cities, starting in verse 1, right, that they would be able to take the spoils of war, the women, the children, right? But then later on it says the latter towns, meaning towns of the Canaanites, on the land of the Canaanites and the people in it, right? He says what? The Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, all those 5 nations, right? They were supposed to complete completely destroy them, right? So that's what it's going to jump into in the latter verses, right? Which is why it says, right, thus you will do to all the cities afar off of thee, right? But then it says ma'ad, meaning in turn, meaning beside, which, ashar, la'a, ma, haraya, which are not of the cities, hagawayim of the nations, these, ha'alha, behold, right, Rakwa, and really 15 and 16 is one whole verse, right? So it says, behold, only of the cities of the peoples, these, Rakwa, Ma'arya, Ha'imyam, Ha'alha, right? Ashar Yahweh Alahayaka, Nathan Laka, which Lord your power is given unto thee, right? To inherit, Nachala, La'a, Tachaya, Kal, Nashama, meaning there will not live all thing that panteth. That's what that word Nashama means. It means to pant, right? As in a woman in travail, but it also means inspiration, right? Which is the breath of life that the Lord gave Adam, which is that same word Nashama, right? Which is the breath of life, which is the divine inspiration, right? Which is the Holy Spirit, right? The Ruach Kodash, right? Divine inspiration, right? But here it's talking about, right, anything that is alive, anything that breathes, right? So yeah, right? Anything that remaineth. So let's get another instance for that word. Because of his turnings. Bible Hub. I'm going to show you that word awad is used in another sense as well. See if I can just turn. Nope. Turning. Nope. Let's see what we can get right here. Turning. Nope. Let's just put turning away. Right, so that word awad is also used to denote backsliding, right? See if that is it. Nope. Let's see. Backslide. Slovakia. Backslide. Alright, let's just use Google Translate. Slovakia. Awad. see, I'm gonna try one more thing. Go to my interlinear Bible. Let's see. Firebrand. Let's see. Let's go to Blue Bible Hub. Firebrand plucked up. Right. Bible Hub. Right. Because I want to show you. You know, you'll run into certain instances in the text where, you know, it might seem like that word is out of place, but it really is denoting something else. Right. Slovakia, that's not the. Alright, check this out. Alright. Firebrand. Right. So there's various ways, right, you know, to kind of get an understanding, right? Let's see, a wad. A cause, right, on account, because. Let's see if we can get that precept. Bingo, right? Genesis 21:11, right? Con. Because you're gonna read that, right? If you study the Torah, Genesis 21:11, right? Genesis 21:11, Wayarai, right? Hadabar Ma'ad, right? And was evil the matter exceedingly in the eyes of Abraham, Ba'ayanya Abraham, right? Abraham, right? Al Awadath, right? Upon the turnings of his son, Banawa, right? That was Strong's 182. Turnings, causes, circumstances, right? To turn around, right? The Arabic says sabab, sounds like kebab. That's funny as hell. Hal, way, manner, cause, right? Which is that's not really, you can't compare that to a wad, but it makes sense when you compare it to hawal, which literally means to turn or dance in circles, right? Which you can compare with hag. See, cause, right? But it really means because of the turning of something, or right, on account of something, right? As in, right, backsliding or whatever the case may be, right? On account of his son, right? Or because Abimelech was in error, right? Because Abraham dug his wells and they stopped up, Abimelech's servants stopped up the wells of Abraham, right? And Abraham reproved Abimelech, right? Because of the turnings of a well of water, which Abimelech's servants have violently taken away. So Abimelech made a covenant with Abraham, but he backslided, meaning he turned back on his word, right? So same thing for all these precepts. Because, no cause. So yeah, right? So yeah. So that word ma'ad here in Deuteronomy 20, it's talking about in turn or beside, but really means of turn, right? In a sense, it's another way to say beside, right? So it says, only of the cities of the peoples these, which the Lord your power, Salaki, I'm just going to read it verbatim, starting from verse 15. So you will do to all the cities afar off, right? In turn, which is not of the cities, right, of the nations these, behold, only of the cities of the peoples these, which the Lord your power has given unto thee to inherit, right? You will not leave alive all thing that breathes, right? It's talking about the cities of the Canaanites. That includes the 5 nations because that's all in that same land, right? Kaya ha-haram ta harayamam or Salakia Kaya ha-haram ta harayama so it says, because surely you will lift up the sword, right? And that word Horayama, you only need to say the first ma, because it's Horayama, right? You're really saying the both of them, but you're saying it together, Horayama, like this, right? So like should be Haraya, right? Which would be Har, right? Haraya, Slakia. Harayam Ma, right? Harayam Ma, right? Not Mum, right? The Wild Pastor, I recently just, kind of, I learned that, from the other parts to heart, right? So Tawada, right? So surely you will lift up a sword to the Hittites, Ha Kathaya, the Amorites, and the Amorites, Waha Amaria, Canaanites, Waha Kanaanaya, or Ha Kanaanaya, Waha Parazia, Waha Urslakia Ha Hawaii, right? Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Jebusites, Waha Yabawasia, Ka Ashur, Tazawaka, like which have commanded thee the Lord your power, Yahweh Alahayaka, right? So it reads, because surely you lift up a sword to the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Jebusites, like which have commanded thee the Lord your power, right? Lamaya Nashar La'a Ya Lamadwa, so that which, right, they will not teach unto you, Atakam, to do La Ashwath, Kakal, Ta'ibatham, like all of the abominations, right, unto you, right, which is Ta'ibath, abominations, right? The Ma, that's talking about, you. You can either say come, lakam, or just put the ma at the end. It's talking about you. Ashar, Ashawa, La Alahayaham, which they do to their gods, right? And it will be sin unto you. Wa them, or Salaki, and you will sin to the Lord your power, Yahweh Alahayakam, right? So it says, so that which they will not teach unto you to do like all their abominations to you, which they do to their gods, and you will sin to the Lord your power. Verse 19, Kaya Tatazawar Al Ayar, because you will distress to the city days many, Yum Rabium, to fight upon it, Laha Laham, Aliyah, right? La Pasha, to take hold of it, right? That word tapash means to take hold, right? So if you say take hold of the law, you would say tapash mahatawara. La'a ta shakhiyath, right? You will not destroy ata itazaha to the tree, right? La nadach, to drive it away, right? As in cutting it down, right? Al Yawa, upon it, with an axe. Garzan. Kaya manawa, because of it you will eat. Ta'akal. So you're not going to destroy the trees that bear fruit, right? As in, peach trees or whatever trees, right? You're not going to use those to build because they are for food. Wa athawa la'a takarath, and you will not cut, and to them you will not cut, right? So when it says driven away upon an axe, meaning, because if you cut the fruit trees, the land is not going to flourish. And then it tells you again, right? To them you will not cut. So it's telling you literally, and it's also letting you know, if when you hew down those trees, right, it's not going to be profitable because the land is going to be barren without having the means to bear fruit. Kaya ha-adam aitaza, because the man, because for man is a tree, hashada, the field, laba'a mapanyaka ba matazawar, right? Meaning because, so it says, because man, tree, field, right? Basically, because, so you will not cut those type of trees because it is for man, right? But then it says the trees of the field, right? Laba'a, to bring in before thee, right? Those you will bring in before thee in the siege, right? Ba meaning in, ma meaning of, tazawar meaning to distress. But that word matazawar, it means to siege, right? So this is where it actually says siege. The other parts of the Hebrew text, that's not talking about siege, right? See how many verses we have left. Salakia, I think that was the last one. One more. So it reads, because you will distress the city many days to fight upon it, you will take hold of it. You will not destroy to the trees, right, to drive them away with the axe. Because of them you will eat, to them you will not cut, because it is for man, right? The trees of the field, right, will be for bringing in before thee, in besiegement, right? Rukwa aitaza ashar tadai, only the trees which you know, right? Kaya la'a aitaza ma'akal, because there are not trees of food, right? Ma'akal meaning ma meaning of, akal meaning of eating, right? Or food. That's one way of just saying food in general. Ma'akal. Hawa, that is athawa, to them you will destroy. Meaning the trees that don't bear fruit, those are the trees that you're going to use to make equipment to besiege the city, right? Wa karath, wa banyath, and you will cut and you will build, right? Bulwarks, matazawar, or siege equipment. But really it just says, and you will cut and you will build, right? Um, uh, to besiege, right? Because that's all that means, matazawar, besiege, right? Or you can say be side works or equipment for the siege. Al ha'ayar, upon the city. Ashar hawa aisha, which that is will be made with thee. I am ka, for battle. Malkama, ad meaning even, till the city be brought down. or even till the word rad or yarad just means to bring down, even to it be brought down, the city, that is, right? Radata, right? So that's Deuteronomy chapter 20 going into the Hebrew, right? Pretty quick and straight to the point. Lord willing, you ratified, right? And giving honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Habrakakwadash, and double honors to the elders and apostles, the great millstone. Kwame Asha Allah, Abad Wabal, Shalom.